guys, good morning. I'm sorry I'm kind of whispering because Noah fell asleep in the back seat, but it's way easier if I do my recordings and my videos when he's sleeping. So sorry, I just got a text from somebody. But like I had said, it's easier to record when he's sleeping. We just went to Target and I got him an outfit and a couple of things for the house, so he fell asleep on our way home. But as you had read by the title, this is going to be the very first video to the start of my life series. So this is part 1. I'm nervous. Like I had mentioned in the video, we need to talk. I have very mixed emotions. I feel like I'm ready for this, and this is something that I really want to do, and I want to share a lot of things with you guys, but then again, it is putting me out there, and it's a little scary, but I think I'm ready, so we're just gonna go ahead and start the video, get into it. So everything really happened, basically started going downhill. Sad to say, when I moved to Florida, not that it's, the state, I guess. It's just when I happened to move down here, that's when everything kind of just went to shit. Excuse my language, but it's basically the truth. I mean, now everything is way better. I'm happier, I'm content, and things are going really good in my life, so I couldn't be any more grateful for that. But in my Q&A video, I told you guys that I was born and raised in California. So when I was 17, I had moved down to Florida with my family, and just as a disclaimer, I'm not gonna mention any names of any places or people involved in my stories, just so you guys know for the future videos, just for privacy reasons. I don't really feel comfortable throwing things like that out there. And just so we're clear about this too, the videos that I will be making about my life series part, in no way, shape, or form is it to bash anybody, to put anybody down, to be negative about anybody, to be negative about any of the situations, anything like that. Again, it's for me to put myself out there, show other people, if they're going through these things, or if they've been through these things, that you're not alone. There are other people that are in the same boat as you, or have been in the same boat as you, and if you can't relate to any of these situations, again, it's just, I mean, if you're watching it, maybe you're here to be enlightened in some kind of way, somehow take the knowledge that you can get from my videos to, like I said before, take it to help somebody else that is dealing with situations close to what I have been through, or anything like that. So just a disclaimer. But anyway, I did move here about 3 years ago. I was 17 when me and my family had moved down here. My parents wanted to retire here in Florida, so we moved down here. That's disgusting. I don't know what's on my arm. It's probably from the shopping cart. Anyway, but when I moved down here, I had already graduated from high school, so I started going to college when I came down here. And when I was going to college, I was working a full-time shift leader management position. I was also in full-time college, and I had a part-time job. So I would literally go to school Monday to Friday from 7 in the morning to 3, and then I would work my management job from 3:30, because my school was literally down the street from my work. I would work about 3:30 to 11 o'clock, sometimes midnight. And then on weekends, I would work my management shift job from 7 or 8 to 3 or 4 o'clock in the day. And then right after, I would go to the mall and work my part-time job until about 9, 10 o'clock at night, depending on what time the mall closed. So I had a lot going on, but I ended up meeting my baby daddy at the job that I was a manager at. And for obvious reasons, my parents weren't going to accept it because he does have a background. He has a felony, and it's not for like rape or like murder or like anything like that. What happened was just a gist of it. He ended up getting into a fight when he was in jail fighting a case, and then he ended up hitting an officer in the middle of the fight. So he got that whole little situation that happened when he was in jail, he got a battery assault felony. So my parents knew a lot about the people that I had worked with, because my parents were very involved in what I did in my daily life, obviously, because I'm their kid and I lived with them still. So they're well aware of the people that I worked with, and I ended up coming out to them that I had liked this guy and that I had been seeing him, but the way I did it was extremely wrong. By this time, I had turned 18, and basically we were dating behind closed doors for a couple weeks, and I decided that for them to accept it, they were just gonna have to deal with it, kind of, basically. So what I had ended up doing was I literally packed up a bag. I packed up a bag and I literally just walked out my parents' apartment. And he had picked me up. He was there. He drove to my apartment because he knew where I lived. He dropped me off at my house one time before, so he knew where I lived. And so he basically just drove to our apartment, and I just walked out. Did not say a thing to my parents. For all they had known, I had just left with some random person. They didn't even know what was going on. And they had called the police. They were looking for me. I would text them saying, well, I'm fine. I just need to be away and da-da-da. But they weren't sure if I was with somebody that they had known, or, they didn't know what was going on because I didn't tell them anything. So I remember when that whole situation was going on, I had to meet with police officers, and I was telling them, no, you don't. I just want to be with this guy, and they're going to be against it. And at this time, because I was 18, to them it wasn't a kid, like a kidnap, because obviously I wasn't being held hostage. I was talking to the police officers, and he was even there with me at some times. And then it wasn't like I ran away, basically. And as much as police officers at the time were making my mom look like a bad person, and I regret that situation so much, because that situation could have been prevented, and that was just the start of everything that happened after. So I advise you, if you have anything in your life that you want, or you plan to do for yourself, always be open about it and talk to your family about it. Don't do any extreme measures, because I caused so much heartache and pain to my family. I even remember that day my brother running out of the apartment looking for me, screaming for me, and he was like, what are you doing, and after a lot that has happened, they see now what a good person he can be, especially to our son. So their whole demeanor has changed about him, and their whole perspective on him, which is great. But me running away, even though I was 18, yes, I was 18. I didn't have to live under their roof since I had turned 18. The way I handled it, the way I just packed a bag, left their apartment, that was running away. Despite my age, the way that I had handled the situation was not okay. And growing up, I used to always be very closed off. I used to not really talk about my feelings. And that's always caused really hard problems between me and my mom. And honestly, now that I have my son, I don't want him to grow up. I don't want him growing up thinking he can't come to me because he'll feel like he'll be judged, or he feels like I'll be against him, or anything like that along those lines. Because at the end of the day, I can honestly say, and if you don't have kids, the day that you do, you'll understand even more. And that's the sad thing, because I had to learn the very hard way, because it took for me to cause heartache and pain to my own parents, and it took for me to have my own child to realize, oh my gosh, you know what? Now I understand what you mean. I understand where you're coming from. You know, my parents, when they were against me dating my baby daddy at the time, it wasn't because they were against me. They didn't want me to be happy. They didn't want me to be, sheltered in a house 24/7 and not be with anybody. It was because he had a background, and that's not an ideal kind of person you want to see your kid grow up with, because you want better for them, but if they had just given him a chance, then they would have realized, oh, this is what she was talking about. Because now they do see what I am talking about in a lot of things. But I understand when my parents are looking at it where, because like even with my son, when he grows older, I'm gonna want him to date a certain girl. I want him to, be with a girl who cares about school, she cares about having a career, she cares about what she does with her life, you know what I'm saying? But since what I have gone through, now when he grows up, yeah, I do want him to be with somebody that's a good person, but if they come from a bad background or a very hard background, because there can be coming from a hard or a bad background can range from anything. It can be me. My parents divorced, and at the age of 9 years old, my brother and I got taken away from our dad. That's a whole nother story. If you guys want to hear that story, I can tell you guys, but it was very unhealthy conditions that we were in with him, and even that is a tough, hard background. Comparing it to my baby daddy, he grew up having to fend for himself on the streets. He didn't have his dad growing up. He was in and out of like foster care and like group homes and stuff like that. And his mom, she's cleaned up now, but she was an alcoholic. And then look, he ended up going to jail, and then he ended up even doing prison time. That is a different kind of hard and tough background. You know what I'm saying? So I understand where my parents are coming from as far as, there's bad and there's worser things in life. You know what I'm saying? So when everything really started to go downhill was really that day. Since then, like I said, our relationship has been way better. It took some time, but we are doing really good now. But that basically started it opened up a can of worms. and it could have been prevented. It was not necessary. The way I had handled that situation was not okay, and I even took it to the point because I thought I was so in love. I thought I knew what love was. Keep in mind, this was only my second relationship. My first relationship was when I was in high school. I started dating this guy my sophomore year of high school. That even ended up being bad because, again, I was in high school. I thought I knew what love was. And long story short, he was cheating on me, and we ended up breaking up a few months after I had already moved to Florida. So again, me being young and dumb, thinking I know what love was, I took that very hard. And then I come to Florida, and after I had been here for a few months, I was dealing with that whole situation, and then I ended up meeting my baby daddy. Again, I fell head over heels over him, and I let my heart and my emotions get the best of me. And it's okay to feel like you're in love and you know what you guys have is true. That's fine, because there really is, true love out there, and I genuinely believe that. But there is under no circumstances any need to have to burn bridges with your own family for it. There's just not. I should have talked to my parents. That's one of the biggest things that I have learned is communication. It is so important. You need to communicate with the people in your life that are closest to you. Second of all, people are going to judge you for the way you live your life, period. After that experience, I've learned to just be open about it. And at the end of the day, whoever does love me will continue to love me, will continue to stand by my side and support me. Whether they like it or not, they will. Yes, they will give you their opinion. Yes, they will put their 2 cents in everything that you do, but they will never leave your side. And that's really where I'm at with my family now. We are on great terms. I talk to them all the time. We love each other, obviously. And if there is something that my parents don't like, of course they're going to give me their opinion. They're going to put their 2 cents in. It's up to me whether I take it or not. It's up to me whether or not I be positive or negative about it. It's up to me whether I be a huge bitch and, do all this extra stuff that's not necessary. When at the end of the day, your parents will never try to steer you wrong. They're always trying to just look out for you. And that's the thing, I understand that now, because with my son, I know he's gonna do things that I'm not okay with or that I don't really want him to do. But where I went wrong, what really messed me up, was I didn't go to my parents like I should have. And that's the thing. I read somewhere that you should sit and wait and think about something for 24 hours. Give it 24 hours. And on any decision that you make, and if you still feel like that's what you want to go with, then go with it. I wish I had done that. Because if I did, then I would have stood my ass home that day. I would have talked to my parents about it. I would have heard what they had to say. And I would have been more cordial about it. More reasonable. And if they were still against it, I would have been like, okay, fine, you know what, that's okay, but I still want to live my life, and this is how I want to live it, and it's going to be with him. So I think it's time that I move out, because I have a job, I go to school, I'll be okay, type of thing. And instead of me just literally walking out of their apartment one day and then just saying, hey, I've been with this guy, this is how I want it, you know what I'm saying? If I had done it so differently, a lot of things today would have been so different. Maybe for the better, but what I did, I did. There's no turning back. There's no redos in life. So the biggest thing I can tell you guys is, any decision that you make, give it 24 hours. Sleep on it and give it 24 hours. That's what I try to do with shopping, because I can never tell if I want it or if I need it. So I try my best to do that too with shopping. It's a great tip. But I promise you, if one, communicate with the people that you love, because at the end of the day, they're not out to destroy you. They're not out to bring you down. People that truly love you are just trying to guide you, trying to be there for you and put you in the right direction. And that's what my parents tried to do. And now I understand where they were coming from at that time, because I have my own son. And for me, even if he decided to be with somebody who is bad and edgier, I can relate to him more because I was in that kind of boat, you know, and I can guide him and provide advice as needed on a level more to him because he could relate. My parents couldn't really do that at the time because they never were in that situation, which is fine. But like I said, at the end of the day, communicate with the people that you love. They're there to try their best to help and guide you. Yes, people are always going to have their 2 cents, their opinion. It may not be what you want to hear. Sometimes it is what you need to hear, and sometimes it's not. But if it's not, there's no need to be extreme and call on unnecessary events. And 2, give yourself 24 hours to make a decision in your life, especially bigger decisions in your life, because you shouldn't act on your emotions or your heart. You need to be more reasonable and mindful of yourself and others that can or may be involved in the decision that you are making. Don't be selfish, and take in consideration other people if there's other people involved in the decision that you're making at that time. Okay. This is why I didn't put makeup on, because I knew this was gonna happen. But that was the start of everything. Moved down here about 3 years ago, was going to school, working, met my baby daddy, and I burnt bridges with my family when I decided to just walk out of their house and basically disappear and cut my connection with them, because I thought I knew what love was, and I thought I knew it all, and I thought that was right at the time, and it was far from right. So, my baby woke up. So I'm going to cut the video here. Remember, if you don't have anything nice to say, please don't say it. I'm really just putting myself out there and the stories out there that I've been through and I have dealt with to hopefully open up other people's eyes before they make any of the situations that they're in worse, or you know, if they've been in these situations or they're in this situation, I can help them at least a little bit in some kind of shape, way, or form. But yeah, so that's it for today's video. Again, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my life series part 2. I don't know when that's gonna be out, but we will get that one out as quickly as possible. Hi, honey. I have you guys propped on my steering wheel because he broke my my selfie stick. Hi, honey. He takes the fastest naps, and it's just ridiculous because I'm like, no, go to sleep for like an hour. It's okay, really. He thinks he's missing something. Oh, my baby, smile for the camera. Alrighty, guys. So stay tuned for the next video. As soon as I have a date for that video, I will be sure to post it on my social media. Again, I hope you guys liked today's video. I know it got super emotional and very personal. But yeah, that was that. So as soon as I get a date for the new part 2 to my series, I will let you guys know my social media. If you don't follow me on social media, I will keep the link in my description so you guys can go ahead and do that. But I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.